Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to the Tube. Today is a great day, except for one thing. I've just recorded a fairly good tube, I think it was, while I was training push this morning. Go to look at the footage, and unfortunately, I didn't turn my mic on, which I swear this stuff always happens. Need to learn from my mistakes, though. So instead, we're improvising. Going to take you through the tube, but take you through it on this video and overlay some of the clips from the training today. And today's video is 3 tips on how to overcome your imbalances, how to bring up those lagging body parts that you just always see in the mirror and you're going, what's going on there? Why is it not growing? So let's get straight into it. Tip numero uno is to assess your execution on the exercises that you're doing. I used to look at these videos all the time, and this is probably the number one tip I want you to take from this video is I used to watch other people's YouTubes and they say if a certain body part isn't growing, let's say it's your chest, it was for me, and it probably still is, to be honest, somewhat. If that body part isn't growing, you're probably not executing the movements as good as you can do. And I used to watch these videos and go, nah, my training's really good. I don't need to make any changes. And that was quite a long way from the truth. And to be honest, I'm still improving, and you should always still be improving. You'll never get to a point where your training is perfect. So always have that progressive mindset of I can make my training better. And if that's the case, again, for me, it was chest. I look back at my training from a couple of years ago and say I wasn't using the most range of motion I could. I wasn't controlling the end ranges as well as I can, so in that stretch position. And in turn, I was missing out on progress. So tip number 1, like I say, is make sure your execution is absolutely as good as it possibly can be for those movements, aka for the movements that are actually working that muscle group that you feel is a little bit lagging. And that way, it should start to come up a little bit faster. Now, tip number 2 is exercise selection, and I like to talk about the priority principle. I do this with all of my clients programming, and this is understanding your weak point. Again, for me, it's my chest. For you, it might be something else. And put in the exercises of what you want to bring up most first. So in this session today, it's actually not my chest in this session. In this session, I really want to bring up my abs. That's one of the key focuses of this session. And in turn, I've put my ab work right at the start. So you can see at the start, I was doing a Nautilus ab crunch, 4 sets there right at the start. And that way I've got the most amount of energy, I've got the most amount of focus, and I'm going to be able to really put as much as I can, as much effort as I can into those initial movements. Sure, you're still going to try to put as much effort in as you can when you're 4, 5, 6 movements down the line through the session, but you're going to have the most energy at the start. So try to bias your programming to have the key focuses towards the start of that session. If, for example, you're really wanting to bring up your quads, let's say, on your leg day, that's going to mean putting a lot of your quad work first. So after your quad work, that's when you can do your hamstring work, that's when you can do your adductor work, that's when you can do your calf work. But do that quad work at the start so you give it plenty of time and plenty of energy. Now, final tip, and tip number 3, is a little bit more complicated than the other ones, or the concept is fairly easy, but the actual application of it is a little bit more difficult. And this is programming efficiently to make sure you're giving those target muscle groups enough volume. So again, let's take the chest. Let's say you're trying to bring up your chest. Especially if you're an advanced lifter, if you've been training quite a while, you're going to want to increase the amount of volume, so the total sets that you do for your chest. If you do that, though, you're obviously digging into the kind of total recovery capabilities that you've got for that week. So you actually might have to bring a few other things down in terms of total volume to allow yourself to recover from that chest work. So let's say your hamstrings are super strong and your back is super strong, but you need to bring up your chest. What you might do is take your hamstring volume and your back volume to something like 6 sets a week, or even less if you can still maintain that muscle on that minimal amount of volume. And that way you've got loads of recovery capability for your chest. So then you could maybe gradually increase your chest volume, start at 6 sets, go to 10, go to 15, and honestly just keep going. As long as you're still progressing in the gym, keep adding sets. And over a 12-week program, 16-week program, you'll get to the end and you might be doing 20 sets of chest in a week. And that way, you're going to be massively increasing the total work that you do across that full program, you're going to be putting loads of work, loads of effort into your chest, and therefore it's going to grow. Now, the key consideration here is if you add volume, but your performance starts to go down, you're not recovering from those sessions. So that's when you've got to be smart with your programming, understand where you're progressing, and that's going to allow you to keep progressing throughout the long run. So they are my 3 top tips for bringing up a logging body part. A little recap. We've got execution. Make sure that's super high. And by the way, that includes intensity as well. So are you actually training hard enough on that muscle group? Number 2, we've got the priority principle. Make sure you put in those exercises that you want to specifically increase towards the start of your sessions. And number 3, make sure that you're giving that target muscle group enough volume and enough stimulus, therefore, to actually grow. So yeah, that is the YouTube made for the second time today. I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, drop a like, drop a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one for probably some sort of vlog or some sort of full day of eating. So maybe slightly less educational, but a little bit more fun. So yeah, hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.